Welcome everybody to today's live session on weathering the storms, AI, and the future of resilient infrastructure programs. I'm 𝐀𝐠𝐞𝐬𝐭. I'm the Senior Content Manager here at 4M Analytics. And if you don't know who we are yet, we are the first utility AI mapping and analytics solution built for project owners, civil engineers, GCs, and government agencies during the early stages of infrastructure development. I'll be moderating the discussion here today and kicking things off for you. Pardon my voice if I cough a little bit. I'm weathering my own storm with a cold here. But joining me today, as you can see on screen, are my amazing colleagues. We have Justin Herder, the Director of Product Marketing here at 4M, Stephanie Gardner, our Customer Success Manager, and we're also very, very honored to have Michael Acosta with us as well, the Division Vice President of South Florida Region, MasTec North America. Michael is a highly qualified professional in underground electric utilities construction and is a registered professional civil engineer with over 36 years of experience in design and construction. Very excited to have him here with us today. But before we begin, just a couple of housekeeping items, everybody. Today's webinar will be recorded, so no worries if you have to hop off early. Hopefully you can stay for the whole thing. It's going to be a great webinar, but if not, no worries. This will be recorded. And if you have any questions at all during the webinar, feel free to drop them in the Q&A below. You should see a little section down there for Q&A. We'll try our best to get as many questions answered as we can. But like I said, it's going to be action-packed. We got a lot to cover here. So without further ado, and hopefully a shout out to our creative team. They did an awesome job on this banner here. Really wanted to drive the message here with the extreme weather. So what we will be covering today, today's agenda, we'll first do a deep dive and explore the future of infrastructure resilience with MasTec. We'll go into a customer story on how MasTec cut record research and CAD work time by 77%. We'll then go into a live demo of our new foundation utility data with on-surface object detection, do an expert Q&A, as I mentioned, and then jump into our early bird access promotion that we have for you guys here today. So like I said, without further ado, let's hop right into it. As I'm sure you are all aware, extreme weather is on the rise and extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and unpredictable. And honestly, it can feel like the news reports an extreme weather event every day. It just seems like, for instance, this week, we've been having record extreme temperatures and we're just stronger storms, you name it. And from a national impact to broaden the perspective here, since 1980 till present, we've had over 350 major events in America costing trillions of dollars. And just last year alone, it was a record year for billion-dollar disasters. So when I was working on data points for this slide, honestly, it was hard because I felt like a moving target. Every time I felt like I had a record, there was another record the next day. So I had to felt like updating this slide here. And to narrow the aperture a little bit more, Florida specifically has had $89 billion weather events, and they rank second in the US for financial loss. I'll let you guys guess who the #1 state is. It was actually, I thought Florida would have been #1, but they're at #2. And they're also experiencing rapid population growth on top of it at 600 new residents daily for the next 30 years. So obviously that's an extremely concerning combination, right? With the extreme weather already causing such a strain on our infrastructure, and then you add the rapid population growth on top of it. So, while extreme weather events undeniably put a significant strain on our infrastructure, it's not the only challenge that we face. So let's address the elephant in the room. The current state of our infrastructure is extremely poor and it's in rough shape. You don't need me to tell you that, or you don't need the words on the screen to tell you that. Everybody can probably drive down their street and there's some type of infrastructure issue, right? Infrastructure is rated C- from ASCE, and we used to rank #1 in the entire world, and now we rank number 13th. We have a $1 trillion maintenance backlog, and we have more power outages than any developed country. As you can see, this trend is extremely concerning. And honestly, here's the challenge that we're facing. With the rise of demand for resilient infrastructure and an aging workforce, a shortage of skilled labor, and on top of that, we still use inefficient conventional utility mapping methods. So basically, in other words, the status quo is not going to suffice anymore in the day and age that we live in. So the real question is, everyone, how can we move forward as an industry to ensure the continuity and development of all critical infrastructure and services that people rely on daily. Because at its core, I think we can all agree that resilient infrastructure is more than just roads and bridges and power lines. It's really about people, and we deserve infrastructure that meets the demands of the modern era.
Very true.
And this is why at 4M, we believe that, as you can see on the screen here, in order to build a resilient tomorrow, we must evolve and innovate today. And more specifically, we must evolve from conventional utility mapping practices and innovate with AI. So as I mentioned, I'm not the expert here today. We have an expert with us, Michael. I would love to get a little bit more of your insight on this. So as an industry veteran with nearly 4 decades of experience, how have you seen the industry evolve, and what are the most significant changes you've observed in Florida's infrastructure resilience over, say, the past 5 years?
Geez, after that, mentioning four decades, I'm starting to feel a little old here. But no, that's an excellent question, Chris. I mean, MasTec does work all across the United States, and many of our electric utility customers have either undertaken new or in some cases are expanding their undergrounding programs. Some are doing it to express issues with reliability or concerns with older overhead infrastructure in rural or sparsely populated areas. Others for climate or weather related events, which gets to the heart of the system resiliency, right? Mm-hmm. So out west in the U.S., you're mentioning the massive heat waves that we're having. I think Las Vegas hit 120 degrees on Sunday, forecast to hit 118 today. Very hot in California, and that heat leads to extreme droughts and dryness. So out west in California, and in the west, they're undergrounding, for fire risk mitigation. Whereas here in the Southeast and the Gulf Coast, the Atlantic coast, it's more to harden the electric grid with regards to, thunderstorms, which are more severe in our rainy seasons, tropical storms and hurricane events, which are more frequent, right? I think the projection for this year is that 2024 is going to be a significantly above average year. We saw the earliest Cat 4, the earliest Cat 5 hurricane ever.
That's right. Hurricane Beryl.
With Beryl, and the one that formed furthest to the east. So, more records like you alluded to earlier. Mm-hmm. Here in Florida, where my organization is, all of the major utilities that we work for have undertaken undergrounding, hardening, resiliency programs, many years back. And then other of our clients are, in the initial stages of some of these undergrounding programs. The hardening of the infrastructure and particularly undergrounding for resiliency is a trend we see increasing across the United States, including Florida. Whereas you point out earlier, right, we've been impacted by so many storms with, a lot more frequency, a lot more intensity. Going back to 2004, Hurricane Charlie was really, kind of like the catalyst for a lot of these resiliency programs here in Florida.
Yeah, and I know we were joking offline, Michael. There's a storm right now where you're at. So we were hoping you weren't going to lose power. That would have been very ironic given the theme of today's webinar. But, going into the undergrounding, Michael, what goes into that decision-making process regarding putting utilities underground or keeping them above ground?
Well, for our clients, the ultimate goal, in the program we're going to talk about today is the conversion of their overhead network to an underground network. So for us, really, it's less about deciding whether to go overhead or underground in a specific area, but more along the lines, how do we engineer solutions to avoid leaving any community or any neighborhood overhead? Being successful in this regard relies heavily on the availability and quality of information during our pre-design and planning phase. We start by conducting in-depth reviews of our environmental constraints, vegetation, wetlands, water bodies, sensitive habitats, floodplains, and and then also existing underground utilities, right? After all the problem areas for a specific project are found, we can determine the routing solutions that either avoid these outright or offer the best possible solutions to mitigate that risk with regards to other utilities, environment. In worst case scenarios, which, fortunately on this program has only been a handful of cases, we would propose to keep a small portion of the facility's overhead. But for the most part, we've been very successful at working with our customers and with our clients to find solutions that can underground most of the system and meet their expectations.
Great. And Michael, as I mentioned, and as everybody can see on the screen, at 4M, we believe that to build a resilient tomorrow, we must evolve and innovate today. And hopefully I set the stage well enough in the beginning with those first couple of slides and why we must evolve and innovate today. But what are you specifically in MasTec doing to evolve our current infrastructure, and how are you leveraging AI specifically to meet those demands?
Yeah, another great question. First, we're working very closely with, partnering with our clients and our customers to understand the current needs of their programs and where they see themselves in 5 and 10 years, right? We also work closely with them to understand what their KPIs are and what their metrics are to see how we can better support them, their customers, and the community. Initially, our work on some of these resiliency programs was construction only. So, we were providing safe, qualified people and the corresponding equipment and resources to execute the work that the utility designed. But another recent trend, aside from undergrounding, that we've seen in the industry has been the EPC or the turnkey models, which many of our customers have incorporated into more and more of their programs. So here in Florida, we're working with a significant undergrounding programs for one of the state's major IOUs, in which we're one of their 3 turnkey vendors providing engineering, easement acquisition, and construction services. So it's an exciting program. It's a scaling program, but with the tight labor markets and tight markets overall for resources, right? Labor markets, like I mentioned, qualified people, equipment, real estate needed for operations and for yards. We've been looking more and more at technology and AI-based technology as a way to allow us to scale the program so that there's actually less demand for as many resources as would have been needed in the past, and also allow us to better meet our customers' deliverables and expectations. So, aside from what we're going to talk about with our partnership with 4M for the existing utility information, we're currently also using AI on different programs and different matters. So, we're using AI to cull through our job site safety and high energy observations to see subtle trends or commonality issues in the observations that can help us identify the needs for, additional training, additional development, maybe opportunities for other types of engineering controls, so that, we address issues before they lead to an incident, an accident, or a life-changing event. Technology is, very, very rapidly changing. We also implemented across MasTec Utility Services an AI-based driver analytics system to help us identify and root out at-risk driving behaviors, right? So that we drive better, we're safer, we're keeping our people and the public safer, and we're reducing our motor vehicle accident rates and increasing our, vehicle availability rates. So a lot of exciting things going on with regards to technology and AI.
Yeah, I love that. And when you mentioned the tight market for resources, given qualified people, and we have a capacity challenge in this industry. And I really think that AI is a great solution for that, instead of adding more human intensive bodies to that, right? Because we do have a resource challenge here. And so that was really insightful, Michael. Thank you for that. And continuing with the topic of AI, how do you envision AI driving advancements in the construction industry in coming years? And what do you think will be the most significant need that AI can address?
I mean, as I think about it, I know that AI is going to drive a lot of how we manage our projects, we plan our projects. It's so powerful that it's going to be extremely helpful with that regard. But you know, what AI is going to look like in 3 to 5 years is hard to fathom, because it's changing so quickly, right? But I would love to see things where standard video conferencing from the field is replaced with something like AI augmented VR, so that we can see what's happening in the field when a crew or a project manager calls with an issue and a problem. We might be able to turn on layers and see the underground infrastructure and overlay our design and the work that we're doing, right? So being able to do that remotely through video conferencing, I think would be great. I would hope we would be at a point where we can have AI generated subsurface data be the key guidance tool in how our horizontal directional drilling equipment executes the work in the field, so that we can plan very good routes and also avoid any utility conflicts. Even AI enabled excavation equipment, right, to maybe override or give alerts to an operator before they hit a utility that they haven't properly cleared. I mean, those are just some of the things that I think would be great. But we'll see where we are in a year. We'll see where we are in the next 3 to 5 years. Definitely exciting times in the industry.
Yeah, it's just wild to think how fast and rapid it is. I mean, I was just talking to my wife the other day, like ChatGPT wasn't even a thing until a couple years ago. And now it's just like once it starts, it exponentially just gets faster and faster. And I know it's hard to tell what year certain things will happen, but it's going to happen, right? It's not a matter of if, it's more of a matter of when. But it's clear that AI holds a real tremendous potential in enhancing field operations and minimizing risk. And speaking of advancements, let's shift our focus a little bit into another critical aspect of success, your competitive edge at MasTec. So I'd love to know a little bit more, Michael, about what gives MasTec specifically a competitive edge and sets you apart when it comes to winning new contracts for these resilient infrastructure projects. And I know there's more and more funding happening from the government for these resilient infrastructure projects and programs, and would love to know what gives MasTec the competitive edge there.
Oh, great question again. There's no single thing. MasTec has been partnering very, very closely with our customers and with our clients for many years. And so we're very aligned with them, their needs, their expectations, and we're always willing to work with them on piloting new processes, material, and technology. So I think that's a key. Working so closely with all of our customers has resulted in some very solid multi-level relationships where we've become known for delivering safely, delivering with quality, delivering on time, and meeting our customers' needs and expectations, right? But another key component is our people. Frankly, our people give us a huge edge. We have many forward-thinking people at all levels of our organization, always looking for ways to innovate and evolve our offerings to exceed expectations. And AI is going to continue to help us do this. We've got a lot of very highly qualified people. They're very good at what they do, and they're also very aligned with our customers' deliverables, with bringing increased resiliency to the communities that we serve and we live in. We are beneficiaries of
That's right.
the resiliency programs that we're working on, right? So, we have that added interest in ensuring that we do things right, we do it with quality, and that we meet our customers' expectations.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have skin in the game. This is our country. This is our infrastructure, so I love that, Michael. Thank you. And I'm actually going to pass this mic on over to my colleague Stephanie now, who's going to dive into an incredible success story that you guys had with 4M at MasTec.
Sure.
Well, Michael, thanks so much for sharing all of that great industry perspective and really what makes MasTec unique. Having worked with a lot of the people that you mentioned, I can echo your sentiment that they're all very well trained and qualified and really committed to doing the best job possible for your clients. So beyond that, I'd love to hear the story of how MasTec used 4M for Florida's undergrounding program specifically. But before we really dive into that, can you share the biggest challenges you faced with these projects before using 4M, and also if there was a turning point that made you realize the status quo was no longer sufficient?
Yeah. So, the program we're talking about, we started working on back in 2018, was a construction only program at that time. We were using our clients' designs and going out to the field and executing it. Then, around 2019, that became a turnkey program where now we were providing the engineering, we were providing the customer outreach and easement acquisition. We're doing our permitting, and we're doing all the construction as well. So, as our program scaled and we were, designing work, all over Florida, we found that the traditional methods of securing existing utility data and bringing it into our design environment was taking more and more human resources, and was dragging out over, many, many months. Those were resources that could be more productively used to engineer and design and draft our projects to meet our customers, increasing deliverables. Quite frankly, another factor is that, the traditional methods, requesting as-built drawings and receiving them either in hard form or in PDFs, and the fidelity of that data that we were able to secure and bring into our designs, was frankly is not very good. And so that led to more constructability issues, once a designed and permitted job got into construction. And then this not only then presents, downtime and increased cost to our construction team, but also required, rework, design, drafting, permitting, which took away from our design and permitting team being able to execute and produce new work to meet the current year's design plan. So we figured there had to be a better way through technology, to obtain existing utility information. And our director for engineering and the team began to research and see what was out there. And that's how eventually we came to find 4M.
It's really funny that you mentioned this process, because it's the same process that we hear over and over again, and it's really outdated, and it always produces the same unreliable results and incomplete results. I really can hear that antiquated processes really won't meet the development needs of the 21st century. If I may ask, what's the main reason you chose to work with us, and did you have any initial doubts about using utility AI?
Um, Loaded question, but yeah, like I said, there had to be a better way through technology, and 4M was one of the options we found that we thought might be able to help us with this. You know, our programs engineering director brought us the recommendation to incorporate 4M. Confident that this could be a viable solution. But even myself as a civil engineer, and after reviewing the information and going through the 4M website, I still had my doubts. It was kind of hard to fathom how AI pulled all this information from all these different sources, to give you a reliable data set, right? So, reading the material, viewing the websites, honestly, it sounded too good to be true. It really did. And it wasn't until we met, with you and the 4M team, with 𝐀𝐠𝐞𝐬𝐿, with Roz, that we kindly fully understood, you know, the breadth, the fidelity of the data, and how quickly, you know, how short the turnaround time could be to obtain this from 4M versus the traditional methods, right? So you know, that's kind of when we started. You know, we still had some doubts, and kind of like the last thing that really helped us, you know, kind of get across the finish line and initiate the partnership was not just 4M's willingness to come down here and meet with us and walk us through how everything worked, but it was, you know, the willingness to engage in a pilot demo period in which, you know, for a few projects, we were able to request the data, bring it in, validate it against, you know, the traditional data that we had obtained. And that's when we finally said, man, this is the way to go. And we felt confident enough, myself and my directors, to make that recommendation to our leadership to execute the agreement and enter into the partnership with 4M at the end of 2023.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes seeing is believing, especially when it's something new that's never been done before. It's kind of like voodoo magic. So you have to try it and get experience with it. Can you provide, do we need to fast forward another slide deck? Another slide, please. Can you provide an overview or an example of an undergrounding project in Florida where you used 4M?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said earlier, we're working on a major undergrounding program for one of the state's, you know, a large investor-owned utilities. You know, the purpose of that project is, you know, to provide more resilient electric energy to the neighborhoods that are currently served through overhead power lines and overhead service drops. The objective of that program is, you know, to ensure increased service availability to the neighborhood's homes and businesses in normal conditions, and also to allow for much quicker restoration of electric service after a weather or a storm event. You know, we're doing the engineering, the design, like I said, the customer outreach, easement acquisition for placement of new pad-mounted transformers. We're doing the permitting, and we're also doing the overhead and underground construction of those projects. It's a long-term project. It did start in 2018. It's currently approved by the Florida Public Service Commission through 2032, but it's a program that's projected to go through about 2045. So,
Wow.
kind of looking, yeah. Well, after I'm retired, but it's exciting,
Wow.
right? It's a huge program. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the general public, I mean, we usually talk to the engineers at large, right? But I don't think the general public have an appreciation for how complex projects like this are. And you describing your scope, your umbrella scope of work, there's a lot of moving parts in this throughout the process.
Definitely.
I think if we fast forward another slide, I'd like for you
I mean,
to walk us through.
one of the things, yeah, one of the things there, it's, you know, there is a long lead time, right? So, you know, a typical project, year one of the project is design, engineering, you know, the customer outreach and permitting and easement acquisition stages. And then year two of the project is where we actually go out and we construct it, right? New overhead make ready work, all the underground construction work, cutting over the homes and businesses to the new underground system, and then coming in and removing the old overhead system, or not old, but the existing overhead system. So it's a 2-year period for a typical project. So it is pretty complex.
Yeah, and this slide kind of shows you just a glimpse into what we're doing with you guys together. And this is an example of the design work that you took from 4M. Can you walk us through what we're looking at here and tell us a little bit more of the phase of the project that you utilized the 4M data?
Yeah, so the upper left-hand image is the existing utility information that 4M provided to us, and that we brought into our design environment to prepare our conceptual design and our permitting submittal drawings. So, we request this data electronically, and once it's put together, we get notifications from 4M. We download it in a digital file format and bring it into our designs, which is what you're looking at on the right hand side there. That image, it's a typical sheet from one of our conceptual designs, our permitting drawings, where when we submit to the permitting agency, we have to include all of the existing utility information in a plan and a profile format, along with our new system that's being installed, right? So the image on the lower left is kind of just a blow up of what the utility information looks like once we've brought it into our design environment and into our permitting drawings. And that existing utility information is something that remains throughout the entire design process.
So what I hear you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you're taking the 4M data to meet your project milestones, specifically the permitting phase. Is that kind of what I take away from what you just said?
Well, actually, it's all the phases. Permitting is just this drawing that you saw was permitting, right? But it's the foundation for a lot of the design, right? We've got to install our system and design our system in a way that meets the electrical needs of the new system we're putting in, but it also has to avoid any conflict with these existing utilities that are in the field. So the data that we get from 4M is used in not just in our conceptual designs and in the permitting drawings, but it's used in the construction drawings that are prepared, reviewed, approved by our customers, our clients, and then that we execute and build in the field.
So what were the challenges and risks that you face with this project?
Well, that's a loaded question. There have been quite a few, and it's actually been very exciting to work through and find solutions to most of them. I say most because there's one that's still a head scratcher to me, and it's one that we don't have control over, and that's the homeowner or the business owner with whom we might need to secure an easement for the placement of a new pad-mounted underground transformer. When you prepare the designs, these transformers have to go in certain locations in order to meet the voltage and the voltage drop requirements. And we've encountered, a lot more homeowners than I would have thought that, at least initially, aren't very interested in the program. I mean, these are communities that, their power might be affected in storm events. And, the data shows that underground systems perform extremely well and get restored extremely quickly after, most storm events. So I would have thought there would have been a lot more interest from the public, to sign up for this and to move forward. But, that hasn't been the case. And, another factor, there's no additional cost to the homeowner, right? The utility isn't charging the homeowner for this work. All of us who are customers of that utility are basically incurring small monthly charges to fund all of this underground, this hardening work, this resiliency work.
Seems like you have to be not only a problem solver, but also like a bit of a lobbyist and a negotiator in your community outreach. So can you share a specific moment where 4M helped you achieve a significant breakthrough or project milestone?
Yeah, definitely. Last year's design plan, so 2023 design and outreach plan, it's what we're building and constructing this year in 2024. But for that design plan, the 2023 design plan, it took us 9 calendar months to obtain all of the existing utilities information through our traditional methods, bring that into our design environments for about 80 projects. And this year, So 2024 design and outreach plan, when we first began using 4M, we were able to do these same tasks over a period of just 2 months for about 90 projects. So
Wow.
that allowed us to shift our design and permitting resources over to productive work to get the design and the permitting executed, sooner. So that's going to shorten our time frame on completion, by 2 to 3 months this year versus what we did last year. Then the other exciting part, right, is that we're very confident that the data we're getting from 4M has a much higher fidelity, than what we had been getting traditionally. And, along with other technology that we've incorporated this year, it's going to help us eliminate a significant portion of constructability issues that we've encountered in the past. So we won't actually have hard data on how much we've reduced the constructability issues until we go into construction with these projects in 2025. But I'm confident we're going to see a significant reduction in constructability issues.
I mean, those are some huge breakthroughs already. I'm really looking forward to what we accomplish in the next phase. Chris, can you fast forward or can you forward one slide? What are some of the key results and takeaways that we can walk away from with our project or our partnership that you've realized so far?
Well, I mean, you've got them highlighted on this slide, right? We were able to accelerate that record research and bringing all those records into our design environment by 7 calendar months, and that's going to accelerate our completion of the design time by about 3 months this year. So last year, some of our design work stretched into 2024. This year, we're going to get it all completed before the end of 2024. So that allows us to start permitting early, get permits in hand, and be ready to go much sooner than we were last year. And, speed to market, getting these projects designed, built, energized sooner provides for a more resilient infrastructure, sooner. We have been able to, as we looked at the reduction in time for this research, we have been able to constrain our costs by about $650,000. And then when you look at what the cost of obtaining the 4M data is, we're confident that we have a projected ROI of about $250,000 this year through the utilization of 4M.
That's amazing. It's been really rewarding for us to see the results of our partnership so far, and we're looking forward to the future of our partnership. How do you see 4M impacting future resilient infrastructure projects moving forward?
I mean, I see 4M as being one of the key components that's really going to help us meet the deliverables with increased accuracy, shorter timeframes, and meet our customers' expectations as these programs continue to scale. Additionally, I can see where 4M can be incorporated as an important technology partner for us on other turnkey projects or EPC projects and programs as well. I know here in Florida, there's another division VP who's been looking at this and is very interested.
Well, last question from my part. Thank you. You've been very kind to answer all of these questions. If you had to describe 4M Analytics AI utility mapping technology in one word, what do you think that would be?
One word. I mean, there's a lot that come to mind, honestly. But if it was one word, I'd have to say impressive. On many different levels, right? The quality of the data, the fidelity of the data. I mean, one of the issues we had with traditional methods is, it wasn't accurate, but it also didn't detail what the size of the facilities were. The data we're getting from 4M does include that additional information. The speed in which we request it is also, and obtain it, is impressive. And also, you know, the 4M team, you know, you all have been amazing to work with, and, you know, willing partners to adjust and help us, you know, tailor to our needs. So, and then, you know, when you look under the hood, right, that whole technology and how you pull the information from all these different sources, right, and come up with this bundled package, I mean, that's impressive.
Awesome. Well, impressive it is. I've been waiting for my time to speak on this amazing webinar. It's been super awesome to hear, you know, from the macro level, your stance and perspective on what's going on with the industry, where the climate is today and how it's impacting our infrastructure, all the way into, you know, learning where 4M and MasTec partner to help advance your program timelines. So I'm going to stick with that word. I might say impressive a couple times in this meeting, but thank you for saying that. It's also always awesome to hear that from our customers. So let's transition this a bit, Michael. And let me go into this slide here. So we've heard the story from the macro level. We talked about your experience with 4M. You mentioned what's under the hood, and how you were impressed with what 4M provides. I'm going to go a little bit more into detail to talk about what the actual product, data, and service we provide is under the hood. So as we kind of talk more about that, you know, we want to share, you know, how 4M gathers the data to create this instantly accessible, comprehensive utility map. And then once we kind of speak through that, I want to kind of go through some new and exciting features that we just launched last week. So at a high level, this is how the map is created. So 4M uses AI to collect, sort, structure the utility data from millions and millions of public utility records, vector data, GIS layers, ad-builts, and more. We then synthesize it into a comprehensive map, which we call our foundation baseline map. Once the data is pulled and the map is created, the data is then further validated by leveraging AI object detection to identify objects, markings, and satellite imagery to verify them. We then use change detection with historical aerial imagery to validate any altercations that may have occurred. And overall, we have an amazing professional service team who are experts in the field who oversee the whole process to verify the quality of the data, providing you the utility map that you spoke about earlier, and analytics that are accessible right from your office. And the cool thing is we don't stop there. The data is always continuously updating with new information, records. We're enhancing the mapping, the quality of the data, to make sure you have the most up-to-date, reliable information. So that's the nuts and bolts of how 4M is created. Let's go into showing you, what we've launched and a live demo of it in action. So we launched last week our new foundation utility data, which was previously called real time, with our new on-surface object detection in Florida, California, Colorado, and Texas. Now, our foundation utility data is our baseline utility map, giving you access to detailed utility information, owners, lines, and more, all within seconds. Coupled with this new data layer, we have added on our new on-surface object detection, which leverages computer vision to detect manholes, utility lines, all within your project area. and then provides you a satellite image with Google Street View to visually verify it, giving you speed to data, improving early decision making, and advancing project timelines. So this is an overview of how the data is pulled and creates the map, and the new technology we've just rolled out to give you access to data quicker and faster. Okay, now to get out of the slides and actually show you what it looks like live, I'm going to go ahead and go and log into the map. I just want to show the audience here too how easy this map is to use, how easy it is for you guys to access the data. And it all starts with going to our website. So if you sign in, put in your email information, got this secret password with a fingerprint, and boom, it brings you right into the experience. And that's it. That's how you log in. That's how you get to the map. And this is where you take action. So we're going to start by going into Florida and checking out Tampa. I know it's hot there and humid. So as we go into Tampa, we're going to zoom in to an area here. And this is on Bayshore Boulevard. We're going to quickly create a project. You're going to see this layer has the right of way where you can turn on and off, make it easier to draw lines on where your project area wants to be. I've turned it off. And I'm just going to quickly draw a line here for your project area. Right click, hit next. Let's call this Tampa Bayshore. Do a capital T just to make this best for project lodging. Okay, so we click into it and voila, you get your first view into the map. What you're seeing here is our density map, where you can instantly see in the area the density of utility lines within your project. So if you zoom in, you can see where most utilities are on this project. And in the sense of time, I'm just going to transition to what we want to talk about today, which is our foundation data. So you can easily just click get data. The cool thing about this, everyone who's watching, is anyone that can log in today, you guys get 3 free foundational utility data. So either follow along with me or at a later time go and request them. You click get for free, and then instantly you'll see the actual lines below the density map, where you can now see more information. You can see where the utility lines are and have more extensive details within your project area. So if we want to go check this out a little bit, you can zoom in and you can start looking at different angles where these lines are at. On the left-hand side here, you'll start to see more information about your project area. You can see how many utility owners are in place here. You can see the line length, the number of intersections that are happening where utility lines are overlapping. You go into view list, you can view by utility owners or by utility sectors. So we go to utility owners. We can sort the lines to show who owns what. Click into City of Tampa Bay. You can see here on the lines here and zoom in a sewage line that's running through. You can also look at other owners. Here is a fiber line in this area. So it's giving you the detailed information to see where the lines are at and who the owners are. And to show off our new feature that we just launched and talked about on surface, object detections, you can simply go in and click unlock. This is a new feature that we are releasing. So with the new foundation data, you get 3 object detections with that offer. So you click get for free now. So once you request it, it will send you an email saying that the data is coming. And once it shows up in your email box, it will give you instant access to the data. So we can go in, you can see that it shows, hey, you have on-surface objects detected. Simply click into your email. And voila, it brings you right back into the experience, but now it's supercharged. It has more information and details about actual objects within the area for utility lines and manholes. So you can zoom in, you can click on a manhole, you can see that satellite imagery expanding into it. You can show that there's a manhole here, and then you can actually go in and actually verify it. So clicking into Google View, see where this thing is at. I know it's around here somewhere. Back it up. And we're right over it. So you can see that the manhole is right in front of us. And then same thing with utility lines. So it's showing there's a utility line in this area. You can click to expand. You can see that there's satellite image. You can toggle on and off and on the frame, and then expanding into the Google Street, you can see that the line is right here. So all of this stuff is accessible from getting the utility information and data instantly to then getting the object detection on surface object detection within a short time after request, where you can go in, see where these objects are, and then visually verify it through satellite and Google Street. Cool. So that's a quick demo of what this looks like as we explained it. Michael, I would like to hear your thoughts on this. What's your initial reaction? Now that we've kind of supercharged this experience, giving you speed to data even quicker than before. How do you envision this data impacting or benefiting MasTec?
Yeah, I mean, with it being so new, we haven't had the opportunity to use it yet, right? We requested our 4M data at the beginning of the year for this year's design and outreach plan. We'll be requesting the data sets in several months for the 2025 design plan. But, I can see where this is going to help us reduce the amount of fielding time to verify and validate existing utility information, even more than the 4M data set that we used this year did. Like I said earlier in the webinar, prior to 4M, we used the hard as-built or PDFs to identify the infrastructure and aerial and street view imagery to confirm what was visible, but then, had to conduct fieldings to search for and confirm, the remaining infrastructure. So I can see this helping us reduce fielding time, because quite honestly, our confidence level in the 4M data is very high, and we think object detection is going to further be along those lines of high quality, high confidence information. The only thing I would add, and I know you all have been great in working with us to kind of adjust to our needs. I think if moving forward we can see other types of objects like handholds, pedestals, pad mounted equipment, even water meter pads, I think that'll be a further enhancement of object detection.
That's exciting. And that is now going to be added to the roadmap, and hopefully our product team is listening. But some of the cool things that are coming up is we're going to get into classifying these manholes, so you can see the drain inlets and valves, as well as the poles where you can identify power, street lights, traffic systems, as well as the voltage. So you can see That's whether great. It's a high, medium, low. So I know we're getting close to time here. Chris, do you want to transition us out here on next steps?
Yeah, thanks, Justin. And as you mentioned, just kind of echoing what you said, as you can see on the screen, everyone, we're offering this promotion where you get your first 3 foundation utility data with on-surface object detection projects for free. It's as simple as what Justin just showed you there on the screen, logging in, creating your project, and unlocking your free projects. And to be cognizant of time, I'm just going to hop to the next screen here too. We would love for all of you guys to attend our next event, our Georgia launch event, in partnership with our friends over at WSB. This will be next month, and joining us will be industry veteran Andy 𝐀𝐠𝐞𝐬𝐿, Vice President of Construction Technology and Controls at WSB. If you want to attend, all you got to do is take out your phone, snap that QR code there, and it will drive you to the registration page. I will also drop it in the chat. Let's see how good I can be at multitasking here, doing the moderation and dropping it at in the chat at the same time. Here we go. Clicking that link will help you register for our next event. We would love to see everybody there. I know we're at the top of the hour. I wanted to get to Q&A, but it looks like we probably won't be able to. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to give you one question, Justin, that came in before we drop here and give everybody their time back. How do you prevent duplications and inaccurate information is one of the questions that came in. And I thought that was a great question that I figured you'd be the best person to answer.
That is a good question. I'll keep that short. So as we kind of went over how the data is made up, we use AI and machine learning as well as our human experts, so our professional service team, to help identify the best data based on historical accuracy, data patterns that we've identified, and then using that information, we either combine or remove. And this will help, and this will be a continuous thing that we improve our maps based on feedback we get from customers as well as new data coming in, so we can provide better data completeness and minimize errors. And that's the goal here is how can we get you the most up-to-date data based on the confidence from historical accuracy, data patterns, and our experts who are overseeing it. Hopefully that answered.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And sorry for the rapid fire. I told you guys it was going to be action-packed today, so apologies we couldn't get to more of the Q&A. But I just wanted to thank everybody, thank my colleagues. I wanted to thank everybody who attended. Special thanks to Michael for joining us today. I really, really appreciate it. And it's really inspiring to see everything that you and MasTec are doing over there and how you're leveraging AI and new technologies to keep pushing this resilient infrastructure forward for our country. And like I said, we all have skin in the game. So even me as a consumer of this infrastructure, I thank you. And we can't thank you guys enough. So without further ado, thank you guys so much. Hope to see you at our Georgia launch event next month, and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to participate and for the continued partnership with Forum.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye, everyone.